Hey there, how's it going? In this video, I'm going to show you a system you can set up on the backend using Airtable and Make.com to protect your cold email campaigns from bounces and how you can essentially avoid spam at all costs, make sure your inboxes stay healthy, and essentially book more meetings through cold email. What we got set up here is an Airtable, and what we're capturing essentially is data we get from a bounce within Smart Lead. So this Make.com flow is what we have set up as soon as a email gets bounced within Smart Lead, right? So as you can see in my Smart Lead, you get these messages, these bounce messages. A lot of people ignore them, but they carry a lot of interesting information that can help us determine the health of our domains or if we're having copy issues, whatever. But oftentimes they're pretty cryptic, as you can see, like it's pretty hard to see what's going on. So we're using a AI module to give us some more information. So the very first thing is the trigger we have in the make flow. So this is a webhook. You can set these up on Smart Lead. As soon as an email bounces, this webhook will get triggered, right? So first we have a ChatGPT module. This one's pretty straightforward. It's just parsing the bounce code, really. If it wants to load, yeah, we're just going to give it the bounce message, right? Because the webhook will carry this bounce message. We're just saying, hey, ChatGPT, just give me that bounce code. So this right here. So whether it's 550 or yeah, you got all these bounce codes, but they all mean something else. And that's what we do in the second ChatGPT module, right? So this is also pretty straightforward. So in the second ChatGPT module, what we're doing here is we basically feed it a lookup table here with all these bounce codes. You can look it up pretty easily on Google. It's pretty common knowledge what all these bounce codes mean, but you just want to say, hey, ChatGPT, look at these bounce codes and determine what the likely issue is or what the likely causes of our email bouncing. So that's what we're doing here. So what we're doing next is we're validating our email in a couple different email validation tools. So we got Lead Magic, we got Million Verifier, we got Bounce Ban. I had Never Bounce as well, but I ran out of credits there. But obviously you want to make sure you validate your emails well before actually uploading them into a campaign. And I assume that's pretty common knowledge nowadays, but we want to validate the bounce email as well. So we got these statuses here from the validation tool. So we got Lead Magic, we got Million Verifier, Bounce Ban. And why we want to make sure what their status is, because sometimes, as you can see, it's going to be different for each provider. If they're actually valid for all 3 out of 3, that gives us a pretty good indication that we're going to spam with that inbox. Because if a valid email is bouncing, as you can see, it says right here, it detected your message as spam. And yeah, same for these. If you're bouncing on completely valid emails, that's a pretty good indication that something's wrong with that domain. Yeah, if it's actually invalid, then it would make sense that it bounces, but that is important information, right? So that's why we test them on these different providers just to make sure, just update their records. We get the campaign analytics from that particular Smart Lead campaign. Unfortunately, I can't open these because I will show my API key. And I cut that out. But honestly, it's pretty straightforward. Just go to Smart Lead's API docs, and it's pretty well documented. It's pretty clear. If you need any help with that, just let me know. So you just get the campaign analytics, of which the email just bounced. Bit of stuff here. It's not really important. But what we're checking is if the bounce percentage of the campaign is under 2%, right? So if it's over 2%, we're going to pause the campaign, right? So we got the bounce count divided by unique send count. If that's over 2%, we're going to pause the campaign, going to send a notification to Slack to let us know so we can take a deeper look what's going on, if it needs any manual intervention, if we need to re-verify or whatever's going on there. So that's to make sure you never have a campaign that's just going absolutely nuts in terms of bounces, as going over 2% or higher bounce rates, and you don't even notice. So that's why we have this set in place. So essentially, a campaign can never go too high in bounce percentage. That's pretty much the first thing. That's more of a dynamic measure to protect yourself from bounces, right? So if we got this tag right here, if it's likely spam, then we'll trigger this webhook. So you set up a automation on the back end of Airtable. Soon as this record is likely spam, we'll trigger this make flow, right? So this webhook, and we'll remove that account from that campaign, right? So we can put it on warm up, because like I said, it's pretty clear indication that something's wrong. And that domain or that email account is probably going to spam across our campaigns as well. And we just want to remove it, put it on warm up for a couple weeks, see if it recovers. So we have something here as well, another table within Airtable. So what this one's doing is we're just checking bounce percentage, reply percentage across all campaigns in the last 14 days. Also lifetime percentages, but that's not for this use case. We have some pretty clear protocol set up. It's probably better if I just make another video around this, because there's a lot of nuance to it. But if it's essentially, just in a nutshell, if it's over 1.5% reply rate and under 2% bounce rates, and if the email account send out a certain amount of emails, a certain amount of threshold, then it's a healthy email, right? So we can keep sending with that one. If it dips below that, we mark it as underperforming. And if it's underperforming twice, so if it triggers this flow, it will be marked as underperforming. Or if the reply rate dips too low, or overall bounce rate dips too high, gets too high, right? It's also underperforming. If it gets burned 2 times, we'll just marking it as burned, right? So that's probably something, very wrong with the domain. Probably completely burned and not even worth trying to recover. So just mark as burned, and we'll just remove those inboxes completely and set up brand new domains, brand new inboxes, and restart the cycle, because eventually all domains will die as well. That's more on the inbox level protection. The final one is more of a campaign level bounce protection. So what we have here is this make automation runs once a day. I guess you can also do it twice a day, but at the moment we're just doing once a day. We're getting all Smartly campaigns, checking all the active ones, getting the analytics, and seeing if it's underperforming on a campaign level, right? So if the bounce rate's over 2%, and we send a significant amount of emails, in this case being 300, or if we're under a 1% reply rate, then that will count as underperforming, right? We're calculating the net new bounces, net new replies to make sure we don't pause it too early, using a data store here to just keep track of the data for us, so we can pull it very easily from here. You can also put it in a spreadsheet or an Airtable, doesn't really matter. So yeah, if it's still underperforming, still under 1% or over 2% bounce rate, pausing the campaign, sending a message to Slack so we can intervene there, see if we need to re-verify the list, if there's something going on with the copy, if it's a pattern showing up in other campaigns as well. So yeah, these are the measures we got in place to make sure we always have healthy inboxes, to pick up on signals that might determine if your inboxes or domains are burned, if we're going to spam. Yeah, these are that's very valuable information we can get from just those bounce codes. There's a lot more to it. As you can see, we've got a lot set up on Airtable to essentially come up with health metrics. But like I said, that's a video for another day. But yeah, this is just on the bounce side of things. So I hope you found the video valuable. If you need any help setting this up, just let me know. I'd be happy to help. And yeah, happy sending. I'll talk to you soon.